six-legged winged horrors.
Yeah, they're kind of gross.
And they stink to high heaven.
You know what I want to do? Let's send those cicadas to the moon.
But don't you worry, After May, these bugs will die and disappear again for another 13 years.
They're annoying, disgusting.
They stink to high heaven.
Let's send those cicadas to the moon.
Moving on. Our main story tonight concerns healthcare. The industry that's done basically no innovating in the past 50 years when it comes to big rolls of paper you plop your bare arse on. Specifically, we're going to be talking about Medicaid, the public insurance program that provides health coverage to people with low incomes. It is massive, representing $1 out of every $6 spent on healthcare in the US. And as of last year at least, it covered more than 90 million people. And the reason I put that in the past tense is thanks to something called the Medicaid unwinding, that number has been plummeting and fast.
Hundreds of thousands of Americans are finding out they may be without all-important Medicaid coverage.
It's a process they're calling Medicaid unwinding.
They basically said, hey, sorry, you don't have insurance, which is your books. You didn't even talk about those jobs. We have people that we have served 15 to 20 years, and suddenly they're not covered.
It's true, people be getting kicked off Medicaid sometimes with no notice. In the last year, that number was driven by over 11 million individuals, including nearly 5 million children, just for once. The government blindsides people with something beneficial, or even just fun. Like if one day Congress announced they'd be adding Shrek to Mount Rushmore, that would be something. He happened so naturally you may not have even noticed. He's in there. There he is right now. And that is better. Mount Rushmore is better with Shrek on it. And the thing is, all of this was to some extent by design. The unwinding has its origins during the pandemic, because when COVID started, one early relief bill had a requirement. The states couldn't kick people off Medicaid, which was a good idea, given there was a giant global public health emergency and millions of people were losing work and getting sick. But at the end of last March, that policy expired, and for the first time in 3 years, states started checking people's Medicaid eligibility again. Some states, like Georgia, even tried putting out PSAs like this one to alert people to the changes that were coming.
Hey, did you know there may be some big changes coming to your Medicaid coverage?
We're talking peach.
Sure am, but that's not important right now. What's important is that you visit statecover.ga.gov and update your contact information.
Why?
Well, the federal public health emergency may be ending soon, so it's important that you verify and update your Medicaid account.
Thank you, Mr. P.
Oh, no, that's my brother. I'm George.
Exactly. I mean, it's all very good. My favourite part there is the shopper saying, "You're a talking peach," and responding, "Sure am, but that's not important right now." Disagree, talking
Like,
peach.
I don't see
You're
what
a
that
piece
has
of
to
fruit that can
do.
talk. That is maybe the
My
most significant
goodness.
language of humanity or fruit. If that were to happen, every government would have to rethink their farming policies immediately. The UN would hold an emergency assembly regarding the talking peach issue.
Why would you just go down into a well? Whatever.
I have not been back there in years, but it was the last place left to look.
Now, unfortunately, despite magnificent PSAs like that, not everyone heard. People all knew exactly what they had to do to keep their health care. And what that has meant is that a process that was theoretically just about removing people who no longer qualify has in many states been an administrative clusterfuck. Because 69% of those who lost coverage had it terminated for procedural reasons like missing paper, with that number going as high as 93% in states like Nevada and New Mexico. That means the overwhelming majority weren't necessarily ineligible. They might have been, but circumstances might have changed.
It was not exactly as I remembered it, but it wasn't all that different either.
Never completed the renewal process. And for many, that wasn't their fault, but the states. Take this for a fact, who received zero notice that they had to do anything to maintain their Medicaid coverage, then suddenly found that they lost it at the worst possible time.
The last 24 hours have been a nightmare for Liz Adams. In that time, she found that her two kids were dropped from Medicaid. The news also came a day before her 7-year-old son, Brian, was sent to a housing procedure. His currently in remission and pleading, "I'm mad. I am mad. I did not understand. Adams tells us she has been ordered to follow regular medication for PCS.
Two odd contraptions guarded the lost treasure. I would have to turn one and see what happened.
That is terrible, because anyone could tell you
And that's what would have happened if I turned the left switch. But since I am here telling this story, you already know that I pulled the right one.
Give the kids Medicaid, you monsters! But the thing is, everything about the current unwinding is emblematic of much larger issues with how we've always administered Medicaid. So given that, let's talk about it was first enacted in 1965 as part of the same law that created Medicare, the program providing healthcare to the elderly. And from the start, it was set up very federal program open primarily.
And that's what would have happened if I turned the...
Medicaid is a partnership between the federal government and the states, where the federal government state spends. And while there are some federal requirements that states must meet, they get a lot of leeway in deciding how to run their programs. And when done well, the service they provide can be transformed. For instance, Medicaid can pay for people with disabilities to have home health workers come and help with mobility and daily living.
Pockets, barrels, butter churns, and beds were jammed into every nook and cranny of that cave. It all seems so familiar.
This lady.
Even though the bed was very comfortable, this was no time to hide under the covers.
Wait. Hold on, Grandpa. I don't remember this part of the story. Beds hanging from stalactites?
We'll get there, Gwendolyn. Don't worry. No detail in this story will be overlooked. Now, where was I? Ah, yes. As I treaded through the river of rumbling trundles, I feared I knew the source of that deafening wind. Nestled beneath a slumbering pile of teeth and claws was...
Fabled mirror.
Oh, so you remember this part of the story.
Well, dragons are my favorite.
You want to tell this part?
Yes. King Edward sent me, the greatest knight in all of Daventry, on a quest to return his stolen mirror. A gigantic, hulking beast of a dragon was the last thing in my way to... My way to add a shinier hat to my collection.
Incredibly onerous. At one point, Tennessee was sending families who wanted to renew their Medicaid a questionnaire that could be as long as 47 pages. And the state could be pretty careless about doing that, as one family lost coverage after their renewal packet was accidentally mailed to a horse pasture. Which is obviously absurd because horses aren't eligible for Medicaid. They get healthcare through a very different program called the Glue Factory. We all know this. And look, glitches can occur in any system, and they can happen more often in government programs, which do tend to be underfunded, understaffed, and operating on ancient technology. And I'm not trying to rain shit down on honest government employees who have to process an endless barrage of paperwork. I have total sympathy for how demanding those jobs are. In fact, there's exactly one group of government employees that it's okay to make fun of for something that is not their fault, and that is Secret Service agents. For the fact they are constantly being bitten by the president's dog. I'm sorry, I hope they're all fine, but I'm still going to laugh every time I think about that. But there are times when it feels like the obstacles to getting Medicaid have been put there deliberately so the state can keep those that they see as undeserving off the rolls. because states get a lot of discretion in deciding who is and isn't eligible for benefits, and in some, they keep the bar to qualify troublingly high, all while adopting a deeply moralizing tone. Take what happened when the Trump administration gave some states permission to implement work requirements as a condition of Medicaid eligibility. Some were eager to put those in place, like this state rep in Kentucky.
Why do you think the work requirements are going to work? It's an incentive. I think that there is dignity in work. It's something that is about the human person. So often I say that sometimes our charity becomes toxic to people. In our wanting to help them, sometimes we hurt them.
Putting aside the calling access to basic healthcare charity is immediately infuriating. It is something that's about the human person? Are you absolutely sure that's a sentence? Because it sounds more like something a drunk alien would say while trying to describe a David Foster Wallace book. It's something that's about the human person, you know, the humanoids and their person feelings. But it's worth noting that the majority of adults on Medicaid, about 63%, are already working full or part-time. Those who aren't are generally in school or might have a disability preventing them from working, only leaving a very small percentage of the population to whom the policies could even apply. Now, fortunately, Kentucky didn't end up implementing a work requirement, but unfortunately, Arkansas did, and it didn't go great. For a start, simply complying with it was a hassle. Beneficiaries had to report their work activities on a glitch-plagued web portal. And just 6 months in, 18,000 Arkansans were stripped off Medicaid and locked out of reapplication until the following year. And for some of those people who, again, were already working, losing access to healthcare completely upended their lives, like this man who had a job at a chicken plant.
Adrian McGonigal's life is coming undone. He became one of the people that the state has booted from the Medicaid rolls in the last 3 months. He discovered this only when he went to fill prescriptions at this drugstore, and the pharmacist told him, sorry, your coverage has been canceled.
And that it was going to be like $340 for one of the medications and like $80 for the other.
So he left empty-handed. This was a big deal because McGonigal has severe COPD, a chronic lung disease that makes it difficult to breathe. Without his meds, he landed in the hospital multiple times and missed a lot of work. His supervisor tried to accommodate him, but he wasn't healthy enough to perform his job, so he lost it.
Yeah, the work requirement for Medicaid caused someone who was already on Medicaid and working to lose both Medicaid and their work. Which has to be the most upsetting thing that's ever happened in a chicken processing plant, apart from all the other things that happened in there on purpose. And while Arkansas ditched that work requirement after less than a year, Georgia is now experimenting with one and is proving just as stupid and just as frustrating. And that is the thing. So much of the talk around Medicaid seems to center on the fear that someone somewhere might be gaming the system. You hear that argument all the time.
The people in my district that work hard, that struggle to pay the healthcare, they're very frustrated when they see someone they know in their small town where everybody knows everybody. They see someone that's not working.
Why should somebody have to go to work every day and pay taxes to provide something to someone who could do the same thing but chooses not to?
I don't think it's unreasonable to say that able-bodied people who are working age, who are not disabled, who are not seniors, should have to go to work if they want someone else to pay for their health care.
Look, it goes without saying that I disagree with Matt Gaetz on a lot of issues. His stance on immigration, his stance on gun control, his stance on hanging around with teenage girls. We don't see eye to eye on most things, but on this I particularly disagree. Because states already aggressively monitor Medicaid eligibility, and some of their efforts can be deranged. Take Tennessee. Their state inspector general has a Medicaid fraud unit that posts the names and photos of people in arrests on a government website and social media, with some even ending up on a most wanted list. This woman was charged with a felony for supposedly receiving Tennessee benefits while living in Mississippi, and wound up having to pay $2,000 to bond out of jail and even more to hire an attorney, all just to show that she'd not in fact committed Medicaid fraud. Her driver's license just had an outdated Mississippi address. So her only real crime there was not wanting to stand in line at the DMV for 8 solid hours. The head of that Tennessee unit even acknowledged it costs far more to run the fraud unit than the office will ever recoup from people on Medicaid who are usually low income, because even if the state recovered every dollar from charges brought against beneficiaries in 2022, the total would amount to less than $900,000 compared to the office's budget of $6.4 million a year. And look, I'm not an accountant, despite having resting budget analyst face. But even I know that makes no financial sense. And look, I'm not saying Medicaid fraud doesn't exist. It does. But for the most part, the costliest fraud isn't being committed by patients getting care they may not technically be eligible for. It's providers doing shit like this.
A husband and wife living a fairy tale lifestyle paid for by all of us. Over a 3 to 4 year period, they were true jet setters in their private $900,000. The Herons ran 2 health services in North Carolina. They billed the state's Medicaid system at least $17 million. Most, if not all, of the patients they claimed to help were already dead. Their names gleaned from obituaries and cross-checked with the Medicaid database.
That is obviously reprehensible, but if I could just give one quick note to that news station. Everyone knows what dead people are. You don't have to show B-roll of a cemetery for us to understand the concept of death. Just like when you said the Harrods ran 2 health services, you didn't need to show stock footage of a doctor writing something down on a notepad. But interestingly, you didn't do it all the time, did you? Like when you said the phrase $17 million, you didn't feel the need to show this stock footage of cash slowly falling out of the air. But why not? How else will your viewers understand what money is? As if all that weren't bad enough, that guy liked to post his business affirmations online, including never outlive your usefulness, doing big things requires one not to be stuck on the little things, and I'm not doing a business that's new, I'm doing a new way of doing business. A quote he loved so much, he posted it a second time a month later, but in red text instead of yellow. And I'll admit, it didn't really resonate when I read the yellow text over dark green background version. But once I saw the red text over neon green one, I was like, wow, that is so true. That's totally what he was doing. But that is by no means the only case of Medicaid providers defrauding the companies. In Arizona, there was a group of fake rehab centers that for years claimed fraudulent reimbursements from patients who were either getting services they didn't need or not getting them at all, reportedly taking in more than $2 billion from the state. And some of their submissions really should have raised red flags, like a bill for alcohol rehabilitation for a 4-year-old, which is a little difficult to believe. If toddler alcoholism were a genuine problem in this country, you'd definitely seen a TLC series about that. You know that is true, and you'd probably have watched it. And while in both of those cases, the providers were eventually caught, it took years for that to happen. Again and again. The priority seems to be making sure no individual gets a penny more healthcare than they deserve, even as states are weirdly blind about much bigger amounts of money flowing out the door to large organisations. And speaking of large organisations, there is one last massive flaw with our Medicaid system. It has to do with managed care organisations, or MCOs. These are private companies states contract to deliver and pay for healthcare. Currently, 72% of Medicaid beneficiaries are enrolled in a care plan overseen by an MCO. And it is big business. The 5 biggest MCOs own the Fortune 500, including Centene, which has long been a favourite of this guy.
Centene! Yeah, the healthcare plan provider for government-sponsored programs like Medicare, Medicaid. This one's a long-time Kramer favorite, been out of favor. But Michael Neidorff tells such a compelling story. Michael Neidorff, Centene, what a horse that thing is. You have impressed me over the years as someone who is really out for the consumer to get the best healthcare.
Do you have Michael Neidorff on all the time?
No.
Centene.
I think that Michael Neidorff is amazing.
By the way, he looks great for 77.
He's amazing, and he's just also a fantastic, charitable man.
Okay, you probably already knew that Craig was wrong about the company, but before we even get to that, I'll point out that the guy they just said looked great for 77 was actually 79, and more importantly, died just 4 months later. It seems any optimistic prediction that Jim Cramer's involved with is enough to kill a business or even a person. Seeing him compliment you on TV is the closest thing we have to watching the tape from The Ring in real life. Now, as for Centene itself, there are serious questions about how it's made some of its money. In 2021, after Ohio sued it for overbilling Medicaid, it settled and paid the state $88 million. In fact, it's now settled allegations of overbilling in at least 19 states for nearly $1 billion. And I would argue that if you had to do that, you may not deserve to exist as a company anymore, let alone have Wall Street's thirstiest business boy go hubba hubba ooga over your stock price. And look, financial damage is one thing, but the most infuriating thing about MCOs is that as with so many players in our for-profit healthcare system, they are incentivized to cut costs at the expense of necessary care, because MCOs get paid a set monthly amount per person, meaning they get a fixed rate. So their profit is whatever they don't spend on patients. And you can probably see where this is going. In state after state, there have been heartbreaking stories of MCOs denying care and prioritising cost savings over patients. There have been headlines about this in Florida, headlines about it in Texas, and headlines in Iowa. And just to focus on Iowa, it transitioned to using MCOs to run its Medicaid program in 2016. In just its first 3 years, there was a nearly 900% increase in members being illegally denied services or care. And some of the cost cutting was absolutely enraging. Like what happened with Louis Facenda, who has cerebral palsy and was living with his mother. He needs a lot of care, which, prior to the switch over, was provided by Medicaid. But once an MCO got involved, he lost a lot of what he'd been getting, starting with his medications.
It was a nightmare. It was literally a nightmare. What am I going to do? I can't afford all that medication.
Also cut were his daily nurse visits. So for 6 weeks, Louis went without the in-home bathing and diaper changing he'd had for years.
He wasn't getting changed like he would normally get changed 2 or 3 times or more a day. It wasn't just the services, it was the mental part of his state of mind, not understanding why all this was happening.
But that's obviously bad news. And it's even better when you hear a doctor at AmeriHealth, the MCO that took over in Iowa, explaining in a hearing about a similar patient just what the corporate thinking was about the necessity of keeping people clean.
People have bowel movements every day where they don't completely clean themselves, and we don't fuss over too much. People are allowed to be dirty. You know, I would allow him to be a little dirty for a couple days.
Look, I'll be honest, when I first heard that, I thought that has to be taken out of context. There is no way a doctor, a licensed physician, would testify in a hearing that he thinks it's okay if people have shit on them for days. So we got the full hearing. I'm not going to play it for you. I'm just going to tell you, he said it. He meant it. And it made me want to punch a hole in the wall. And just watch what happened when Louis and his mum were told about what that doctor just said.
What would you say to him if he was here?
I would see his face, to be honest. You like to be clean. I think it's horrible. I don't have words for that.
Yeah, I'm kind of struggling for words too. Although I will say, Louis did kind of nail it there by blowing that raspberry. And I also appreciated that reporter doing a full Jim from the Office look to camera and nodding. But if I absolutely had to put it into words, I guess I'd say, fuck that doctor with a rusty canoe. I hope he gets tetanus of the balls. And if he has a problem with my language there, I'd say, I'm allowed to be dirty. People are allowed to be a little dirty sometimes. Apparently that's doctors' fucking orders. And while legally, I have to tell you, AmeriHealth eventually restored Louis' service. It is a disgrace it was even a fight to begin with. Look, the reality of Medicaid is that too often it's hard to get, easy to lose, and not a priority for the government or the companies we hire to deliver care. So, what can we do? Well, as I've said before, I personally think the big solution here is to adopt a universal healthcare model. But in the meantime, I'd argue both the current unwinding and Medicaid programs in general need to be run with significantly more care and efficiency. And there are ways to do that. For instance, when it comes to determining eligibility, maybe, rather than sending 47-page forms to horses, states can instead rely on information they already have in their databases. That seems like it would make a bit more sense. And Michigan is actually a good example here. It worked with a design non-profit to retool its application and renewal processes for all public benefits, and the result was that 95% of renewals were submitted on time with a 60% drop in user errors. On the federal end, Congress could ensure that the agency that administers Medicaid has the resources it needs to oversee state compliance. And finally, when it comes to MCOs, if they are going to continue playing a role here, there clearly has to be way more oversight, with performance reviews being thorough and public, especially when it comes to things like denials of care. And until such time as we do all of that, the very least we can do is make Medicaid PSAs that actually prepare people for the realities of our current mess of a system.
Hey, did you know you might be eligible for Medicaid?
You're a talking peach.
Sure am, but that's not important right now.
What do you mean? You can talk? All peaches always talk?
Sure, but don't focus on that, because I want to talk to you about Medicaid.
Is anyone else seeing this talking peach? I see it too, Mom. Molly?
The process of getting on Medicaid is different depending on where you live.
Okay.
The good news is that pretty much in all states, generally, low-income children, pregnant women and families, and people with disabilities are eligible for Medicaid, with some exceptions.
Are there going to be a bunch of bullshit loopholes or something?
Oh, you have no idea.
Well, he's right. Take my state, Texas.
Oh my God, there's more of you.
Mama, what is that thing?
Well, I'm a sweet potato. Now, let's say you're a single mom with 2 kids. If you're making over $334 a month, you're not eligible for Medicaid at all.
It's true. And in Georgia, if you don't have kids, you better be working. Otherwise, you can't get Medicaid.
Hey, good for you. You're not running a charity over there. There's dignity at work. It's something about the human person.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, y'all. I'm from Louisiana.
Mom, what's up with this one's eyes?
Yeah, this one's got wrong eyes.
In my state, we check your finances every 3 months to make sure you haven't gotten some overtime or picked up some seasonal work or nothing.
Guess what? In Wyoming, if you're an adult without kids or disabilities or a pregnancy, you can't qualify for Medicaid at all, no matter what your income is. There's literally no way to qualify for
I can't
it.
unhear
Oh my
Gene.
Lord, is that true?
Even if you're like out of work and like making no money.
Yes!
Honestly, that's fucked up.
It is fucked up.
I agree with the coconut. That's super fucked up.
Mommy, I'm scared.
I know, buddy. Come over here. Stand on this side, away from the produce.
That's a cute kid you got there.
Thanks.
Don't worry, his Medicaid coverage won't be cut.
I smell more bullshit loopholes.
Unless you don't fill out the proper paperwork. But also, maybe if you do. But there's a glitch in the system. Like, I don't know, us mailing your form to a horse pasture.
Oh, it's happened, y'all.
Mm-hmm. Hey, how do we know your kid was really, born anyway?
Excuse me?
Yeah, if that kid wasn't born, then he doesn't get Medicaid. Prove he was born. Prove he was born.
Prove he was born.
Prove he was born. Prove he was born. Prove he was born.
Holy fuck. Was I born?
I don't have to prove anything to you. You're vegetables. The child is the proof.
Listen, I know this is all complicated, so feel free to just give your state Medicaid office a call if you have any questions.
Be patient, though. In Florida, it takes more than an hour to get a live person on the phone.
No way, dude. Además, hay un 80% de probabilidad de que su llamada se desconecte por accidente.
I don't speak Spanish.
He said there's an 80% chance your call would disconnect by accident.
What's the point of even calling them?
Because it's a fun thing to do.
I agree with that.
Okay, we're leaving now. Thank you, Mr. Peachy.
Oh, Mr. Peachy is my brother.
And you ate him last week.
What?
And now we're gonna eat you.
Oh, shit.
That's our show. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week.
That's our show.
Excuse me. Hi, hello. Can you help me? Yes. Can you remove this tomatillo husk from my eye? It's hanging down. It's hanging over. Please. I'd like to see it with both eyes. But I don't have hands. Please. Gracias. Thank you very much.
I tried to turn that crazy contraption, but it was missing a handle. Someone tampered with it, creating some silly conundrum. I tried to turn that crazy contraption, but it was missing a handle. Someone tampered with it, creating some
Sounds like
silly
Leonard Nimoy, or
conundrum.
not Leonard Nimoy, but Christopher Lloyd.
Volumes of old books with foreboding titles clutter the shelves of that strange bedroom. How to Tame a Dragon, Breaking the Spirit of Hideous Beasts, Amateur Spells to Impress Your Friends with. No books about recovering missing handles, though. as I was saying, this was no time to take a nap. All right. I took a brief rest before I decided to adventure on with that very important treasure.
So, the missing handle was booby-trapped? What did you do?
Well, I used my cleverness to outsmart the trap. Then I used my cleverness to hide.
So obscure.
Luckily, that half-blinded beast never noticed me in bed.
A dragon's eye must be really hard to pierce with an arrow. At archery lessons, I can barely hit a hay bale.
It is indeed a feat only for skilled archers. I tried to turn that crazy contraption, but it was missing a handle. Someone tampered with it, creating some silly conundrum.
I got the handle though.
I tried to turn that crazy contraption, but it was missing a handle. Someone tampered with it, creating some silly conundrum. Guilty. I took a second nap.
What did you use to fix the broken switch?
The dragon's chains were coiled around a gigantic switch mounted to the cave wall. After he briefly basked in the sun, the narcoleptic dragon went back to snoring.
I probably sleep all day too, if Amira was my only friend.
Whoever designed this trap thought they were pretty clever, but I would probably find a way to hit that unreachable switch. The mirror called out to me. A ridiculous feeding contraption was cobbled together to keep the beast and probably its owner alive.
John Oliver had a scary face.
Dude.
You're a junior. You're still not a And I didn't get that one.
This is pain for the stomach. The stock has been cut in half with no signs of finding a bottom. 100%.
With a magic mirror safely in my possession, I dreamt of the Daventry I would be rewarded with, and the kingdom it could become. In that split second, I had three choices in front of me. Any would clear my path to safety, and all would have rippling consequences. My hands were shaking and my arms could barely grip the rope, but with the last of my strength, I climbed out of the well and headed back to the castle. Ever since the magic mirror returned, its reflections have warned the kingdom of danger, kept our family safe, and it has exposed many troublesome crumbs tangled in my beard.
Yeah. King Edward was so proud that you returned his lost treasure that he made you king. Everyone knows that part. Now, can we get back to that dragon?
Gwendolyn, there is so much more to my stories than dragons. I hope this old cap will be remembered for far more than the action tattered across its brim, sewn into the seams of many hidden adventures. All right, let's get back to the dragon.
Tell me everything. Like, why did you set the dragon free even though he was trying to eat you?
I set him free because, well, over the years I realized that the dragon was not the despicable, hideous beast Daventry had made him out to be. He was just a caged animal that was never shown any kindness. On that day, I forgave the dragon for his atrocious past.
You have such a bizarre way of making friends, Grandpa. I guess I do too. I'm known as Gwendolyn the Popular back home. But only to my stuffed bunnies.
I've always found it best to pursue friends where I can, though they don't always feel the same about me.
All right, you two. Grandpa needs to rest. Gwendolyn, it's way past your bedtime.
Sleep well, Grandpa. I'll be back first thing in the morning.
He does.
I don't need rest. I'm as spry as I've ever been, though I wouldn't mind a slice of magic fruit.
Well, hello, cousin.
Guard!
I'm glad you're finally here. He's been asking about you for days. I had to sit through the same story 5 times.
We got here as fast as we could. And I like Grandpa's stories, especially the ones with dragons.
Ah, yes, the legendary beast that he set free. I don't know if he forgets I've heard that story before or he doesn't care, but he loves telling it to anyone that will listen. I'm pretty sure I heard the nursemaids telling his same jokes in the hall.
Have you heard anything the doctors are saying?
Yes, doctors, wizards, magic elves. Grandfather is fine, Gwendolyn. They all say the same thing. He's just old. He still has a few good years left. Look, we're all excited that your family made the trip, but there's no need to worry. You should get some rest. I'm sure you're scheduled for a full morning of Grandfather's hilarious ramblings.
Oh, I'm also scheduled for the tournament tomorrow.
Ah, yes, the fencing tournament. You'll love it. I'm, of course, favored to win, and will make sure you have the very best seat to view my victory. The courtyard will be filled with important people and delicious hors d'oeuvres.
Oh, I'm actually competing in the tournament.
I had no idea we were hosting a junior tournament. That's incredible. In that case, I will gladly be there to cheer you on and eat delectable appetizers.
Nope, no junior tournament. I'll be squaring off against you.
I see. Well, perhaps this is the time to stop listening to stories and finally make some of your own. Good night, Gwendolyn. Sleep well.
Why do I feel like he's conniving, awful, terrible bastard?
Come in, Gwendolyn. You can set those on the nightstand.
Grandma said to take 3 spoonfuls of each.
I'll get to those. No need to fuss over me. Now, let's talk about far more important issues. That fencing tournament. I hear you're competing.
Well, I signed up, but I'm not so sure anymore.
Nonsense. If it's Scott you're worried about, he's no bother. After all, I only learned that you entered after he complained about it all morning. Threatened, I'm guessing. There are many ways to win a duel. I, for one, have always been fond of...
Wow, all of these seem very, like, friendly. Like, it's not really giving you a bad option. An act of kindness, a quick witted distraction.
A deft maneuver. Just do it.
She's like, Grandpa, are you okay?
Treating my opponents with respect. You'll be surprised what opens up to you. A lovely fellow once told me the fastest way to anyone's heart is through their stomach. Speaking of, that reminds me of a story. One I know you haven't heard before. When I was a much younger lad, before I was a knight, before I'd been to Daventry, and even before I'd seen a dragon. It's a tale about a tournament that's... It is a long story, but I shall tell it briefly.
Well, Triumph, this looks as good a place as any to camp for the night. Let's rest up. We have a big day tomorrow.
So much fun.
After gracefully rappelling down the cliff, I welcomed the sight of an actual road, the first sign of civilization.
Grandpa, you can't leave Triumph.
Don't worry, Triumph can fend for himself. We've been through our share of sticky situations, but he always comes around when I need him most. After all that graceful rappelling, I was certainly not headed back that way. Daventry was just a few miles to the east. I'd read all about its wonders in my travel books. I couldn't wait to check out its famous, fantastical floating island. I could have sworn the Parade of Hopeful Knights was scheduled for the next day. I should have been with them, marching with Triumph. It seemed my first few minutes in Daventry were off to a terrible start.
So, how did you catch up with them?
That odd horn seemed to be missing some sort of mouthpiece. Strange tracks blazed a trail through the forest.
It's doing what it's supposed to do, just like King's Quest is. It's a game, but it's more like an interactive story. Yeah, but without it being like the conventional choose your own adventure, where when I was a kid, your choose your own adventure thing, there'd be like a scene, and then suddenly you'd be able to make a choice, and then there'd be another scene, and then you'd be able to make a choice, and then there'd be another scene. You're walking through this instead of actually making choices on a menu or something and having him walk through it. So all the different stuff. There were things that were just, sometimes there were things that were a pain in the ass to do. Like going down this river, I had to go through a quick time piece to do that and get down to the bottom of it. There were things like that too, or things that you had to do in a certain order. I already had one of those with trying to get down to get the mirror from the dragon instead of just feeding the dragon. I had to do it in an appropriate sequence to be able to get it set up right. So it's kind of like a little puzzle games set up just to keep it interesting while you watch a tale play out. And it flows just like it did when I was a kid. It flowed pretty well when I was a kid. Sometimes you have to go fucking back and forth, just like in Monkey Island. You remember Monkey Island, where there was a lot of back and forth to get shit done. Imagine Monkey Island with fairies and griffins and stuff like that instead of pirates. I mean, look at it. It already looks like Monkey Island.
I wondered what those birds needed a toolbox for. Oh! Shame. The only tool left seemed to be a small hatchet. And no, Gwendolyn, before you start asking me thousands of questions about that hatchet, I did not go around using it on everything.
Oh, to get the other chapters I have to pay?
Yeah.
So chapter 1 is free. They're giving me a free taste. It's like a demo. I'm playing a demo.
It's just like they did with the Walking Dead video game. Just like this, because I think you can end up with all sorts of different story outcomes. Like when it was like, oh, I found a road, and it let you choose what was right.
There was no reason to chop down that perfectly good tree. That wheel seemed freshly broken. That wheel seemed freshly broken.
You dirty thieves! Wah! Oh, it's just a boy. Don't know where he's from, but it must be hard to pronounce. You know, you should never sneak up on a guy in a dangerous place like... No! What's wrong with your foot?
My God.
Probably stepped on a spiniferous thornweed. Don't worry, I got just the fix for that. Tell me, is it more of a... Oh, oh, or oh. Either way, the Merchant of Miracles has got you covered. But it'll cost you. I've risked my neck to forage the most rare, miraculous, mysterious, and oftentimes delicious ingredients. Ah, here it is. I massage this into my skin twice a day, and just look at my little biscuits. Well, now that I've mulled it over, you'd better not. It might stunt your growth. Ooh, such exquisite material.
Hey.
I knew you weren't from around here. Well, you best get going. Nobody likes a late night. Oh, wait, you're stuck here with me. Every bridge in is out, and my shortcut had a few shortcomings. I swear that rock leaped straight out of the water. Now I'm stuck here with no wheel, a lost toolbox, and Mr. Fancy Cakes. Say, I'll bet a fine, strapping young man like you could help me fix up this wheel. Yep, you help me fix my chariot, and I'll give you a lift to the tournament. Hopefully no one else notices your horrible lack of punctuality. Oh, how rude. Do you have any questions for me?
Nope.
Find me a wheel, boy. Anything big and round should do the trick. Just a little oop here, a little elbow grease there, and that's it! Ooh, I'm a rock! No, I'm not! Enjoy your broken wheel. If we just move this over to the left, right there a little more, and bargain stopper!
Perhaps there was a wheel on the other side of that river. Too bad I couldn't swim.
How did you get across that river?
That missing wheel had me stumped. I had to go out on a limb to get past the root of the problem.
Ugh. Grandpa, your infamous puns are not my favorite.
What's the matter? You don't like the timbre of my voice? You'll warm up to the puns.
These are terrible.
Kitty, kitty, not a kitty, not a kitty!
No wheels in there. Still no wheels. town square was eerily quiet. Was I the only person in Daventry not at the parade? A bakery, and it smelled delicious. Delectable goods looked tasty, but I couldn't compete in this tournament with a full stomach. Aha! I didn't see any reason why that stale bread wouldn't work for a wheel.
Okay, well.
I stumbled upon some kind of curiosity shop. Against the knickknacks was a little collection tray with a sign asking for tips. Nothing seemed to be brewing yet. I thought these potions, herbs, and other magical sundries were best observed from afar. I didn't need to borrow more than one wheel. I didn't need to borrow more than one wheel. I didn't need to borrow more than one wheel. Ah, a shortcut.
Do I really have to hear the story about how you took forever to tiptoe across that fallen tree again?
No, I guess not.
You still haven't found that replacement wheel? Hey, I'm not the one that's late for that tournament, you know. The faster you find me something big and round, the faster I can get back to my deliveries.
I thought this might do the trick.
Lovely choice, boy. And thank the Yarblesnoofs, this bread is beyond stale. Hopefully it didn't pay too much. You have a face that just screams overcharged. I've got just a fix for that, too. But we have important tournament business to tend to, and I think this'll do the trick. Ooh, I'll just need to start locking my unicorns up at night. Mr. Fancy Cakes has a nibbling problem. All right, off we go. Oh, wait, before my mind slips, I was able to procure an entrance ticket to the tournament. Since you so graciously found me a wheel, I am more than willing to sell it to you at a reasonably discounted rate. Are you interested?
Oh, sounds good. I love a deal.
So do I, boy, so do I. If I see one, I'll let you know. Here you are. Now, let's Vamanusi from this Meadowland, Mr. Fancy Cakes. It is go time. Mr. Fancy Cakes! Ah, heel! Halt! Abyss! Stop! We sincerely hope you enjoyed your stay in our luxury cabin. Please gather your belongings and watch your head on exit.
Thanks for the hospitality.
No time to lounge, my boy! Lucky for you, the parade is halted. Another case of a mysterious missing bridge, I imagine. Watch your step. We wouldn't want any tears in that illustrious cape. Bon voyage, Buttercup! Don't forget about us working folk, especially when your pockets are full of riches. Back away, back away. This area is unsafe for commoners.
Hello. Apologies, I'm late. I should be on the list. First name Graham, last name...
The list, unfortunately, is inside the theater, which is across that bridge, which is inexplicably missing.
We've ordered a temporary fix, but we're still sorting out the work order.
Well, with all the recent budget issues, I remain skeptical about the repairs.
Well, can't those knights check the list?
Do you mean Kyle and Larry? They're off duty. Don't ask.
You needn't worry. These night hopefuls will figure out a solution soon, and then we can carry on with the auditions.
Well, but I am a hopeful knight. If you just step aside, I'm confident that I could find a way across.
Daventry Decree 6645 states that a royal guard once commanded must never, under no circumstances, abandon his post while on duty.
Well, technically, Addendum 237A allows us to leave if someone is in distress and in need of assistance, of a life or death nature.
I stand corrected, and we wouldn't want a repeat of the Rubenstern fiasco. A tardy auditionee, however, hardly counts for distress. Sorry, but we can't leave our post. King's orders.
What was that addendum again?
Addendum 237A states that a royal guard can only leave his post if someone is in distress and is in need of assistance. The forest is blocked until this situation is under control. The forest is blocked until this situation is under control.
Come at me, bees!
Stay off those rocks. It's dangerous. Stay back. Very important protection duties in process. Stay off those rocks. It's dangerous. Distress!
Abandon post!
Learn how to swim, boy.
Thanks for saving me.
You're welcome, lad.
He was talking to me.
I believe it.
Don't be rude, boy. We are in the middle of an important conversation. He was talking to me.
I believe... This rope will protect you from that missing bridge.
The forest is blocked until this situation is under control.
Oh, duh. Okay.
Stay off those rocks. It's dangerous.
distress! Abandon post!
Learn how to swim, boy. Thanks for saving me.
You're welcome, lad.
He was talking to me.
I believe he was talking to me.
Nope, this tired argument is getting on my nerves.
No need to argue about the fact that I am... Uh-oh. Oh, dear. Not good.
Mind if I join your semicircle?
Let us big kids figure this one out. Over here, buddy.
Pardon me! All right!
The tree was too heavy to move. I would need to chop it down to size. I left the hatchet lodged in the tree because I would not need it any more.
Are you sure?
Quite sure. Everyone always asks about that hatchet. It gets a tad annoying.
Oh.
Hang on a sec. Graham, right?
Yes.
Yay.
How did you know my name?
Well, you'd be surprised at the information people give out when they're too busy thinking about their own agenda. I also observed that without you, no one could have made it across. Well done, Graham.
Thanks, I guess.
They'll never acknowledge it, you know. Those who use their minds over their biceps are never woven into the tapestries of time. I can tell you're like me, a creative thinker, an intellectual. To win this competition, you'll need to prove that your talents are more powerful than their strength, agility, and speed. You'll also need a friend.
I could really use a friend.
They call me Manny. Pleased to meet you.
So, friend, what's your favorite color? Do you like popcorn-flavored jelly beans? Because I do. What's your availability for sleepovers? Are we in a secret club?
Green. I prefer pizza-flavored. I'm free on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and I would say more of a secret alliance.
Alliance?
This competition will not be easy, and Daventry needs men like us. If we put our heads together, we might have a shot.
What's the plan?
If you win, put a good word in for me with the king. And if I win, I'll do the same. Soon, we'll both be moving up the ranks in the castle together. We should head inside the theater, though. Let me know how I can help.
You're gonna have to figure out a different way.
Another horn and another missing piece.
But he's worked on that horn.
Graham, to the front of the stage, please. Now that we have recovered our list, it is my duty to inform you that you are officially signed in. Yay. And I do want to apologize. I am very, very terribly sorry, but we've run out of commemorative tote bags.
That's not a problem. I have no use for tote bags. My mother designed my cape with lots of pockets. Is the next event about to start?
Not so fast, Pocket Boy. The tournament bylaws explicitly state that each contestant must complete every event before continuing on in the competition. Since you were late, you missed the test of chivalry and the welcoming parade. Both designed as light-hearted warm-ups and getting-to-know-you type exercises. You know, an icebreaker before we start in on the usual death, destruction, and duels of a cutthroat nature.
Don't forget about Amendment 70, Article 4.
I was getting to that, thank you. In the spirit of equal opportunity, the new rules state that you can schedule a make-up chivalry test if and only if the circumstances for your absence were extenuating. So, I will ask, what were your extenuating circumstances that made you late for the tournament?
I never heard the date was switched.
I'll just pencil in hard of hearing. Now, go on, mingle with the other contestants. Find out as much as you can about them, and when you're ready for the chivalry test, come and see me.
Of my fingertips when it clasped shut.
Hey there, I'm Graham.
Charmed, I'm sure.
And your name?
What?
Well, I didn't catch your name.
What? Is this true? Surely you jest, Greg. What rock did you crawl out from? How do you not recognize this well-proportioned face?
Well, it's not Greg, it's Graham. And, of course, I know who you are. You're... Sir Ten of himself.
Cheeky. But now you're starting to bother me, Grant.
Well, I couldn't help it. No, but seriously, you're... That jerk who pushed me into the river.
Oh, yes, that silly feather does look familiar. Look at it. It's like a limp piece of cheese. What you need, Gale, is an upgrade. Like my mane of excellence.
Hey, my mother gave me that feather. I might be silly, but you're going to have to wait 1 second. I'll be right back.
I'll be waiting right here, Garrett. Unearth the treasure.
Oh, hey, Graham. We were just sharing some tips about the tournament. Let me know if you want the rundown about any of our competitors.
What can you tell me about Sir Ten of himself?
That's so inconsiderate. Although clever, these silly puns are not very becoming to a gentleman like yourself. Go meet everyone, then come talk to me. I've got a few tips to share.
What can you tell me about Sir Loin of Roast Beefington?
I can tell you that sounds like a phony name. Who's giving you this false information? Did you just make that up? Go and introduce yourself to everyone. Then, come see me for the dirt.
I'm good. Thanks, Manny.
Goodbye!
Hello. My name's Graham. Nice to meet you.
Achaka.
So, where do you hail from?
Achaka.
I see. Sounds exotic. So, what type of arrows do you fly with?
Achaka.
Nice, nice. I prefer the hand-whittled sapling arrows myself. Want to partner up? Show Daventry the power of dueling archers? What do you say?
Achaka.
Yeah, you're right. You'd probably just slow me down. So, what type of arrows do you fly with?
Achaka.
Nice, nice. I prefer the hand-whittled sapling arrows myself. Good chat. I'm gonna get back to the chivalry test. Hey, thanks for knocking that log over out there. Really. It gave me the opportunity to go on a lovely cruise.
Those nights were annoying me, and I wanted some alone time. Leave me be, little fly. You don't want to wake the bull.
Look, I don't want to be in this conversation any more than you do, but I missed the chivalry test, and I need to make it up. The faster we get this over with, the faster I can leave you alone.
Well, make it quick, then buzz off.
What was that you were hiding in your paws?
Well, none of your business, feather boy.
I'm Graham.
No last names. I don't even want your first name.
And your name?
I'm known throughout the land as Circumference, but I am currently in the process of rebranding myself, starting with my name. You should call me Acorn.
What was your name again, Sir Fatso?
It's Acorn. Get it right or pay the price.
Seriously, what are you hiding? Is it a snack?
Leave it alone, string bean.
I'll leave you be.
Go away.
Hey, baby.
Within, I could riches with the edges of my. Yes. Have you remembered my name?
Every woman's dream?
You got that right. The ladies love. Yeah. Who? Who do they love, Gabe?
It's not Gabe, it's... Oh, never mind. Yes, your name... You're... Sir Ten of himself.
Cheeky. But now you're starting to bother me, Grant.
Well, I couldn't help it. No, but seriously, you're... going to have to wait 1 second. I'll be right back.
I'll be waiting right here, Garrett.
Back it up! Back it up!
Yes, Graham? You want some dirt on someone?
What can you tell me about Acorn?
I can tell you not to mess with those bullhorns in any strength competition. I shouldn't be telling you this, but I heard a rumor that the man keeps a pet squirrel under his belly. What kind of a weirdo does that? Imagine what else he's hiding under there. Neither of us is going to be able to match his strength. If we're going to oust him, we'll need to work together and expose his secrets.
What can you tell me about Achaka?
I'm studying his every move. He should make any opponent quiver. Ugh, you got me doing it now. He's fast, strong, and vicious with his bow. I'm trying to convince him to join our alliance, but the translation isn't quite working.
What can you tell me about Sir Ten of himself?
That's so inconsiderate. Although clever, these silly puns are not very becoming to a gentleman like yourself. Go meet everyone, then come talk to me. I've got a few tips to share.
I'm good. Thanks, Manny.
Goodbye!
Are you ready for the chivalry test?
Now, give me a little more time to mingle.
Okay. I'm just gonna... What do you want?
I, heard what you're hiding.
No, you didn't, skinny pants.
I did. I heard a rumor that a tiny squirrel pet lives under your belly.
What? Who told you that? I bet it was Whisper. He's the worst. His ego is the one thing I can't stomach. And she, well, she's not my pet. She's my friend.
Does your squirrel friend have a name?
I wish Whisper would keep his big mouth shut. Her name is Princess Madeline of Avalon. She's a proper lady.
What else is hidden in that belly?
The bones of a feather boy if you don't leave me alone.
I think you're hiding something else in there, but I'm not sure I want to find out. I'll leave you be.
You need to get lost.
Itself. Yes? Have you remembered my name?
Whisper.
Correct. Well, Whisper's full name is Sir Walter Harris Ignatius Sally Percival Eduardo Ramon Jr. the Third, hailing from Modesto. But I'm sure a fan like you knew that. Would you like an autograph?
I don't seem to have any portraits on me.
Well, if you find one, I'll sign it, free of charge. Whisper loves his fans. Whisper loves the knighthood. Whisper loves thwarting evil. But most of all, Whisper loves Whisper.
As do we all. I should be getting back to my chivalry test now.
Don't go! Whisper can do it!
That's a nice thought, but I'm pretty sure those guards would never confuse you for me. I mean, your armor is pretty recognizable.
Whisper's armor is shiny because Whisper loves his own reflection.
Yeah, I get it. Good day, Whisper.
Yes, Graham? You want some dirt on someone?
What can you tell me about Whisper?
Whisper? Huh, his feet might fly by without a sound, but his mouth never will. A shining star in his hometown, he hopes to rebuild his fan base in Daventry. I've heard he'll do anything for the spotlight and can never be outshined. People that arrogant are usually primed for a fall. Don't you think so?
I'm good. Thanks, Manny.
Goodbye!
Are you ready for the chivalry test?
Let's do it.
Question 1. Who is the only knight competing in the tournament that speaks multiple languages?
Manny, we're friends, you know. We have kind of an alliance. Next question.
All right, next question. This knight hopeful hails from a land far outside of Daventry. Based on the odds, he is favored to win the competition.
A chaka.
Okay, moving on. What is the full name of the fastest contestant in the competition?
A chaka.
I see. Last question. Who or what is the favorite companion of the strongest competitor?
Probably his amazing, trusty bow. How did I do?
Okay, let's see here. Tallying. Tallying. It looks like you got 2 answers correct. Why don't you go and mingle? Gather some more fun facts about your fellow competitors. Return to me when you're ready to take the test again.
When we see your special... You again?
What was your name again? Sir Walrus?
It's Acorn. Get it right or pay the price.
Does your squirrel friend have a name?
I wish Whisper would keep his big mouth shut. Her name is Princess Madeline of Avalon. She's a proper lady.
What else is hidden in that belly?
The bones of a feather boy if you don't leave me alone.
I think you're hiding something else in there, but I'm not sure I want to find out. I'll leave you be.
Scram!
Unveiled itself. Did you hear the crowds? They all cheer for me. They love me.
Kyrie's key.
Achaka.
So, where do you hail from?
Achaka.
I see. Sounds exotic. Want to partner up? Show Daventry the power of dueling archers? What do you say?
Achaka.
Yeah, you're right. You'd probably just slow me down. Good chat. I'm gonna get back to the chivalry test.
Yes, Graham? You want some dirt on someone?
What can you tell me about Achaka?
I'm studying his every move. He should make any opponent quiver. Ugh, you got me doing it now. He's fast, strong, and vicious with his bow. I'm trying to convince him to join our alliance, but the translation isn't quite working.
What can you tell me about Whisper?
Whisper? Huh, his feet might fly by without a sound, but his mouth never will. A shining star in his hometown, he hopes to rebuild his fan base in Daventry. I've heard he'll do anything for the spotlight and can never be outshined. People that arrogant are usually primed for a fall. Don't you think so?
What can you tell me about Acorn?
I can tell you not to mess with those bullhorns in any strength competition. I shouldn't be telling you this, but I heard a rumor that the man keeps a pet squirrel under his belly. What kind of a weirdo does that? Imagine what else he's hiding under there. Neither of us is going to be able to match his strength. If we're going to oust him, we'll need to work together and expose his secrets.
What can you tell me about Achaka?
I'm studying his every move. He should make any opponent quiver. Ugh, you got me doing it now. He's fast, strong, and vicious with his bow. I'm trying to convince him to join our alliance, but the translation isn't quite working.